He lost his dream job in the rain, and the worst part was that no one even thanked him for it, they just watched him walk away as if he was the fool. That evening the sky was heavy and gray, and the streets were almost empty because of the storm, but Daniel stayed late at the office, hoping his boss would finally notice his effort. He had worked for that company for 3 years, quietly, without complaints, taking extra shifts, skipping weekends, doing tasks that were never in his contract. He was not loud, not charming, not the type who demanded attention, but inside he carried a deep pride in his work and a simple dream, to become project manager before he turned 30. That night was important, the board was visiting, and his boss, Mr. Calloway, a powerful and arrogant man who treated employees like replaceable tools, had promised that if everything went well, promotions would be discussed. Daniel stayed focused, checking reports one last time, when he heard a crash outside the building. At first he ignored it, telling himself it was none of his business, but then he saw through the glass doors a young woman struggling near the curb, her car stalled in the pouring rain, water soaking her coat, her phone slipping from her hands. People passed by in their cars, slowing down for a second, then driving away. Daniel hesitated. He knew the board members would arrive any minute. He knew Mr. Calloway hated excuses, but something inside him would not let him stand there. He grabbed his jacket and ran into the rain. The water was cold and sharp against his face. The woman looked frightened but tried to stay calm. She told him her car had died and her phone battery was almost gone. Daniel did not ask questions. He pushed the car with her steering, his shoes filling with water, his suit getting ruined. It took almost 20 minutes to move the car to a safer spot. By the time he finished, he was soaked and shivering. The woman thanked him softly, her voice steady despite the storm, and offered to call someone for him once her phone worked again. He just smiled and said it was fine. He ran back toward the building, heart racing, hoping he was not too late. But when he stepped inside, dripping on the marble floor, he saw Mr. Calloway standing with the board members, his expression cold and sharp. The presentation had already started. Daniel tried to explain, but Mr. Calloway cut him off in front of everyone. He called him irresponsible, unprofessional, childish. The board members watched in silence. Daniel felt the heat of humiliation rising in his chest. He wanted to defend himself, to say he had helped someone in danger, but the words felt useless in that polished room. Mr. Calloway made a quick decision. He told Daniel to clean out his desk by morning. Just like that, 3 years of loyalty ended in a sentence. Daniel packed his things quietly. No one stopped him. No one asked what happened. The rain was still falling when he stepped outside again, but this time it felt heavier. Sadness settled deep in his chest. He had done the right thing, yet he was the one paying for it. The next days were slow and painful. He sent resumes everywhere. He avoided telling his parents the truth. He replayed the scene in his mind again and again, wondering if he should have ignored the woman. Sometimes helplessness felt worse than anger. He walked past the company building once and saw the lights shining as if nothing had changed. Mr. Calloway continued giving interviews about leadership and discipline. Daniel felt small, invisible, easily erased. But somewhere under the weight of disappointment, there was still a quiet hope. He reminded himself that he had not acted for reward. He had acted because it was right. That thought became his only comfort. Weeks passed. Money grew tight. He started doing temporary jobs, delivery shifts, small freelance tasks. He stayed patient, even when friends suggested he should have been more selfish. One afternoon, almost a month later, he received an email from an unknown address. It was short. The sender asked if he could come to a meeting at a private office downtown. Daniel almost ignored it, assuming it was another rejection disguised as opportunity, but something made him go. The office building was modern and elegant. He felt underdressed in his simple jacket. A receptionist guided him to a conference room. When the door opened, he froze. Sitting at the table was the same young woman from the rain. She was no longer soaked and struggling. She wore a tailored suit and carried herself with calm authority. For a second Daniel thought he had walked into the wrong room. She stood up and smiled gently. She introduced herself properly this time. Her name was Amelia Grant, daughter of the founder and current executive director of the very company he used to work for. Daniel felt the air leave his lungs. She explained that she had returned from abroad quietly to observe the company without attention. Her car trouble that night had been real, but she had not revealed who she was. She had seen everything through the glass doors after Daniel went back inside. She had watched Mr. Calloway humiliate him. She had asked about him later and learned he was fired. Her voice remained calm, but there was a firmness behind it. She said she believed leadership was not about control, but about character. And she had just witnessed true character in the rain. Daniel listened in silence, unsure whether to feel relief or disbelief. She told him Mr. Calloway had been removed from his position the previous week after a review of multiple complaints. The board had not known how he treated employees until she pushed for internal investigation. Then she looked directly at Daniel and offered him a position, not as a junior analyst, but as head of a new department focused on community outreach and ethical operations. He felt overwhelmed. The sadness of the past month rose up again, but this time it mixed with something warmer. He asked why she trusted him with something so big. She answered simply, because you chose to help when no one was watching, and you expected nothing in return. That is the kind of person I want leading my company. Daniel did not celebrate loudly. He did not seek revenge. He just nodded, steady and patient as always. The justice he received was not loud or dramatic. It was quiet and unexpected, like the moment before a storm clears. Months later, as he walked through the same office doors, now with confidence but still humility, he remembered the rain, the humiliation, the helpless nights. He understood something important. Sometimes doing the right thing costs you everything at first. Sometimes powerful people seem untouchable. But patience has its own strength. In real character, even if ignored for a while, never stays invisible forever.